everything is going rosy over at Tesla.
That was the automotive expert Sandy Munro. He just did a video and I want to dive into that. He also said that there's a potentially good future perhaps for some of these legacy automakers. Let's dive in. And later we'll also go through some of the latest Tesla stock news as well.
This is from the Washington Post, and it's from George Will. He is definitely a heavy-duty Republican. He has a little note here that says 2/3 of new cars will be EVs in 9 years with a question mark. No, that will not happen. It always seems to smack of the same thing. It's always EVs have to do with politics. It hasn't got anything to do with that. It's kind of like we're moving in a new direction.
There's no turning around at this point. The EVs are becoming cheaper and cheaper and cheaper to produce every single year, and that is not going to stop because the technology is still relatively new. And already, if you are looking to save money, it is cheaper to buy an EV than an equivalent gasoline-powered car, provided that you're looking for the same specs and you have that option available to you. But even that is changing with more EV models coming out, and then Tesla comes out with the next generation vehicle. That will be a moment for the history books.
I believe that electric vehicles will be coming along here real soon, and the infrastructure ideas and whatnot, I'd like you to go and look up when the first gas station chain appeared. Cars came out in about 1900. Gas stations started showing up in 1913. Up till that point in time, most people would use something that they'd buy from the pharmacy, like usually raw alcohol or something like that.
In other words, most people can charge at home, no problem. And also, if the little Norway can do it, which already has an EV adoption rate of about 80%, the US can do it too. It's also important to remember that Norway had to deal with EVs that were not as good as today and chargers that were not as fast as today. It's going to be easier to have a higher EV adoption rate later, not harder.
I think that this crap about, we won't have the infrastructure ready. I think with the Ford news, that's been the best news so far this year. Ford and Tesla sharing the Tesla charging system, which is, without a question of a doubt, the best system on the planet.
Smart move by Ford, and others, of course, will follow.
The news is that Tesla Model Y is now the biggest selling vehicle in the world, taking over from Toyota. That's big news. And with Mary Barra coming along saying that nothing is going to be profitable until 2030, that's another one of these things that looks a long ways out. But it does show something.
To me, that something is a lot of companies are likely to go bankrupt or become much smaller than they are right now. And Tesla is not going to be one of them.
When I'm trying to turn a company around, I usually have to deal with the same symptoms and the same problems that you have when people are they're dying. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, great book on death and dying. 5 stages, according to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then the final one is acceptance.
It's not really that hard to make an argument that the GM CEO is still in the denial phase because she thinks EVs in the $30,000 to $40,000 range are not going to be profitable until the end of the decade. And maybe that is going to be true for GM, but for Tesla, Tesla will make profitable EVs under $30,000 this decade. It's probably going to be the next generation vehicle that Tesla is working on right now.
This kind of a phenomenon happens a lot with companies that start off in denial. One of the statements that I'm paraphrasing now because it was too long to put up the whole thing, but this started years ago with statements like, the California EV is nothing more than a fad for Californians.
My nose is a bit stuffy today, but I smell aged milk.
That's kind of like a real denial statement. Anger is the next thing, and again I paraphrase. Why is this guy getting so much press? GM is 1,000 times bigger than them. That's an angry statement.
And today, Tesla is about 14 times bigger in terms of market cap than GM. Never get too cocky. These competitors may one day take everything away from you. Which is one reason why I want Tesla to stay like a startup, because if Tesla ever gets complacent, this could eventually happen to Tesla too. Not in the near future, but eventually, many years from now, decades from now, it is possible. But as long as Elon Musk is at Tesla, I don't think this would be a real risk, because Elon brings that culture of getting things done. You can't be complacent working for Elon.
Then if you look at bargaining, you go down and you say, if there are no UAW workers, it isn't an American car. And that's paraphrased from about a dozen different executives and even the President of the United States.
And yet Tesla dominates this list of the most American-made cars. Tesla Model Y is number 1, Model 3 number 2, Model X number 5, and Model S is number 6. What's really funny about that list, if you look at it closely, you will see Honda on this list. Multiple Honda vehicles are on this list. A Japanese automaker is more American than Ford and GM.
And then the last one, which I'm sure all the Tesla people will jump all over, is a statement made by some guy, Mary, you're leading the way in EVs. That's all bargaining kind of statements. Those are the statements that mean somehow, some way, we're going to talk everybody into getting back to the good old days. Then we go to depression. The stock, and by the stock they meant the Tesla stock, is rising, and so are their profits. Don't they realize that GM has been serving the U.S. for over 100 years? That's kind of like depressing. That's kind of what we heard in the past. But now, Mary Barra's statement is saying actually something that we haven't heard before. Well, Tesla is truly a car company. Tesla is truly leading the way as far as the EV world. And Tesla is truly making a lot of money. Their stock is going up. Everything is going rosy over at Tesla because they made the commitment to move ahead. That's acceptance as far as I'm concerned.
But it's a bit late now. I would rather bet on some of the Chinese companies than on most of the legacy automakers.
And for that, I think that that statement that Mary Barra made, apart from the fact that she said that we won't have profitable cars until 2030, that's the acceptance that means that GM can probably take the first step in moving toward the EV world in a sane and logical fashion.
Only took them about 27 years to realize that they made a mistake not selling EVs. Imagine where GM would be today if they did not scrap this project. Today, they probably would have been the biggest automaker if they did not abandon EVs over 2 decades ago. Now let's go through some of the latest Tesla stock news. According to the governor of Nuevo Leon, construction of Tesla Giga Mexico will start in 10 to 15 weeks with a possible visit by Elon Musk. He agreed to come at the start of the work, which I estimate should be in about 10 to 15 weeks when they have all of the permits ready. I do believe that this year Elon is coming to open or start his Gigafactory, said the governor of Nuevo Leon. So things are moving forward, although some would like these things to move faster. But with Elon now not having to be the CEO of Twitter, I think Elon may go and pull some strings to make things go faster. We have been hearing about Tesla trying to open a factory in India, and this is one more reason to open a factory in India, although this one is a rather small reason, but still it is a reason. India is offering $455 million in incentives for battery storage projects. I think it is inevitable. It's just a matter of time before Tesla opens a new factory in India, and with time, we will not only have a vehicle factory, but also a megapack factory in India as well, probably. New York just had some crazy air pollution, these are real pictures, from New York City. So if you have any friends in New York, let them know that if you buy any Tesla today, pretty much, you get a HEPA filter. The vehicle on the left that looks clean, that's a Tesla, and then the vehicle that you see at the bottom of the left corner, well, that's a car without a HEPA filter. Sawyer did not say that the Model 3 has a HEPA filter, but actually for some time now, all Model 3s do get HEPA filters as standard. Drive Tesla Canada is also reporting that Tesla is adjusting prices a little bit. There's an increase in pricing in Turkey, and there are some discounts for Model 3s in Thailand. All of these changes are relatively small, and these countries are also quite small, so it's not really worth covering in high detail. If you have any money in crypto, or you know anyone who has money in crypto, if you have any money in Binance, I would take it out immediately, and probably the same would go for Coinbase, and really I wouldn't keep any money in any one of these platforms. They are in serious trouble currently. There's another Tesla Megapack project that we found out about. This is translated from Dutch. So these, every day we are seemingly almost hearing about new Megapack projects. That business is going well, and Wall Street is not really understanding the impact of that business that it will have on Tesla's stock price in the long term. Elon also talked to Mongolia's head of state. No big news here really. They just had a meeting. Mongolia has a lot of resources. For example, they have rare earths as well as a lot of copper actually. And we also know that in the next generation vehicles, Tesla is going to be using less copper, but still we need copper, as well as rare earths for current vehicles. Volvo is about to release a new CUV, which will start, they say, at $36,000, and it will do 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. But yeah, that version is going to cost a lot more than $36,000. So I'm really curious what their pricing is going to be. Interestingly, they will sell it in the US in the middle of 2024, but it will be made in China, and these tariffs, ooh, they will be terrible. So they're not likely to make much money here. They are likely actually to lose a lot of money selling this vehicle at this price. And really, if it does not have itself made in the US, then this car has no future in the US because of the high import tariff, and you don't get the $7,500 consumer tax credit, and on top of that you don't get the $45 per kilowatt hour battery manufacturing credit, which adds up to a significant amount actually. For a battery of 64 kilowatt hours, which is what this Volvo is supposed to have, the manufacturing credits could be $2,880. Also, the charging rate does not seem to be that fast. Tesla's charging rate is faster than this Volvo's. And in this video, I talk about Tesla starting to advertise. My name is Matt Post. Just like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.